is a little bit embarrassing. The Black Scottish are also Black British. Ask these people, are they African? What you guys built in Scotland, are you not embarrassed?
Our newfound Black Scottish cousin.
Americans discovered that Black people live in Scotland.
Americans just finding out about Black Scottish people.
Americans just found out that Black Scottish people exist.
This is why I love Americans, because why are you guys acting like we're wild animals that you have just discovered?
What do you mean they make Black Scottishmen? Who? No, I didn't. And
from the Brits stomping in all angry, telling Americans what's wrong. America first, America first, America first. Of course we don't know that there's Black Scottish people out there.
People being excited about experiencing something new for the first time.
Black Scottish people, that is most amazing to me is that we can finally put on front and center that our education system sucks. Because baby, we did not know about y'all. Let me tell you something.
I'm not saying I didn't know y'all didn't exist. I just didn't know that y'all existed.
Never thought about Black people being in Scotland.
So just to preface this video, the reason that I'm even having this discussion is because I'd seen a bunch of Black Americans explain that the reason they believe Tyler flopped with her recent EP is because she went on The Breakfast Club and explained that in South Africa she's classified as a coloured woman, as she comes from mixed ancestry, and that's the way in which racial classification works in South Africa, and that didn't land well with Black Americans, as coloured is a slur in America. And I'd explained from my perspective why engaging with global Blackness discourses in this way is harmful, as it kind of centres American ideas and doesn't leave space for other Black demographics to explain their experiences and their nuanced kind of lives. There was a lot of back and forth, to which I explained that my page is not a place for diaspora wars, it's a place for constructive conversations. And then someone had said, yeah, but like, for example, with this Scottish situation, we feel like we're constantly attacked. I went on to explain that I felt that Black Brits just found it funny. And again, that was met with so much more vitriol from Black Americans. So I want to explain this really clearly. As with the videos that I have stitched onto this video, there have been many people that I've literally just typed in Black Scots Americans. That's all I typed into my search bar, and it came up with so many videos of people using the word discovered, or Black Americans claiming they didn't previously know that Black people lived in Scotland. So two things. I feel like there are three schools of thought about the reason as to why this discussion is happening. One is that a lot of Black Americans are saying it's a joke that Black Brits don't understand. Two, Black Americans saying they're just expressing excitement at seeing the representation. And three, there are a lot of people, to my understanding, that are also saying they didn't previously know, understand, or realise. So those are three separate things. With the sense of humour thing, I think really simply that's not a diaspora war. That is a cultural difference between Americans and British people. British people are known for having very, harsh senses of humour and just having harsh ways of speaking, specifically specifically British Londoners. So for example, Scottish people or Northerners might not necessarily have the exact same type of humour. I think actually, to be honest, sometimes Northerners can have a maybe harsher sense of humour, but across Britain, trolling is just a normal sense of humour. So we, in trolling Americans for not understanding, or what we believe to be not understanding something, is just our humour. And it goes along with a pre-existing stereotype that Americans are uneducated on the global happenings of the world, or are uninterested in the global happenings of the world because of the political climate of America. It's not something specific to Black Americans, it's something we believe to be of all Americans, because of the system that America is and the systematic way that education is kind of positioned to only center American politics, and not just the education system in terms of school, but just general education on world issues. So in terms of sense of humour, that's not a diaspora war in my opinion. That's a culture difference between Americans and British people. American humour, American sarcasm, doesn't require another person to be the butt of the joke. typically British sarcasm does. So, for example, this American sarcasm, as Americans are claiming, is that Black Americans are like, oh, you live in Scotland? What the hell? Like, which is not them saying they didn't know. It's just the sarcasm of like, oh, we never thought about it. That wasn't in the front of our minds, but now it is. That is a sarcasm. Versus with the Brits, the sarcasm would be, we also understand that Americans genuinely would have a conception that different racial demographics will exist in most places in the world, but because we already have a pre-existing understanding or idea that Americans typically center themselves and their ideas of what the world looks like, and don't really have a great understanding of what happens globally, that like American like all Americans, Black Americans in specific, aren't super qualified or knowledgeable about the Black demographic worldwide, and so therefore it's funny. But we know that Black Americans will know that there are Black people everywhere, but it's funny because it then feeds into the stereotype that Americans are uneducated, so that's why we're laughing. And it's a kiki, like, we're laughing kind of with you, but in different ways. We just have different ways of laughing. And I think this is so true because I have Black American cousins, or African American cousins, I should say. And I remember one time, me and my sister, I promise you, I was like 10 and my sister was 7 and my cousin was 11 or 12, and we were literally just making British jokes, and I promise you she cried. And I love her, I love all my American family, but we, like, it was just our sense of humor. We weren't, and we were so confused because we weren't even saying anything to her. But Americans are just a bit more sensitive, which is fine, but Americans are sensitive. Americans have a different sense of humor, and that's just, it is what it is. And in terms of the excitement part, I do understand on one hand the point that Americans are making is that America does not provide a whole load of media about global happenings in the world to Americans. It's not really super easy accessible. Yes, a point of it you could argue is personal, ignorance and unwillingness to learn and lack of curiosity, but I do understand that point that America isn't really good at that, and Americans suffer from disconnectedness as a result of that. And not just the formal education system in terms of school, but education, as in actual human education in the news and in the media. But I don't think that all this excitement from Americans is completely in good faith, because there's been a lot of comments that are from, not a lot, but enough comments from Black Americans saying things like, don't let Black Brits or don't let Africans steal what you built or take credit for what you built, which again just goes to show that Black Americans assume that Black Scottish people have the same racial experience as they do in the US, where they feel that Africans are taking credit for what they've built in their country, which is not the case, because Black Scottish people by large are descendants of Caribbeans and Africans, and a lot of times are first or second generation immigrants from Africa or from the Caribbean. And Black Scottish people are Black Brits, because Britain includes Scotland. So they are Black Brits. Obviously, there's a big difference between southern people living in London and the south in the UK and people living in Scotland, cultural differences, but it's not a complete different thing. So yeah, I feel that is kind of in bad faith. And also trying to start this thing of oh, Black Scots are so much nicer than Black Brits. You can say they're so much nicer than Black Londoners, that's probably true, but Black Scots are Black Brits. And trying to start this weird cultural divide between Scottish people and Black Brits, or Black Londoners, or Black Southerners, I don't know, Black English people, it's weird. And it's it then doesn't feel like you're trying to engage with the people in good faith of we want to get to know you and understand Blackness. Because if you truly did want to understand Blackness, you would also want to understand the reasons as to why Black British people in general tend to criticise Black American ways of thinking. And there have been Black Scottish people that have criticised ways in which Americans have discussed them and maybe fetishize them or treat them like animals. That's the direct quote from a Black Scottish woman that had said that. So yeah, I don't think it's completely left field. And I think that a lot of diaspora wars are really people coming with a lot of emotion but wanting to discuss genuine cultural differences, but we need to come to the conversation wanting to bridge the gaps, because that's genuinely what I want to do. I don't want to see any comments of people cussing me or other people out in the comments, because it's not useful. Constructive conversations we can have, but like this animosity is just
Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we need to talk about a TikTok that's going viral. You guys, you do know that Black Americans have been trending after they had discovered that there's actually Black people living in Scotland. And now a creator by the name of Barack_A is shaking the table. Now he called out Americans for being shocked at the existence of Black Scottish people, and he didn't stop there. He even questioned the American education system and why so many Black people are left miseducated. You guys. Now let's clear this up. Yes, there are Black Scottish people, and no, this isn't new. Black people have been living in Scotland for centuries through trade, migration, colonial history, and especially the Caribbean diaspora. Black community grew roots in the UK and across Europe. But here's the issue. When Americans see Black Scottish folks, they act shocked, almost like it's impossible. That reaction shows how limited the knowledge of global Black history really is. And now, you guys, what Barack_A highlighted is powerful. Blackness doesn't begin and end in America. The African diaspora is worldwide: Caribbean, South America, Europe, Africa itself, even parts of Asia. So when Americans are surprised, it's not just ignorance, it's proof of how much history is hidden from us. And here's where Barack_A really struck a nerve: the American education system. He called it out, asking, so why so many Black Americans grow up without knowing their own history, let alone global Black history? All you guys, most schools gloss over slavery, barely touch on a reconstruction, and rush through civil rights, but they really connect the dot to the global picture: how colonization, the transatlantic slave trade, and migration shaped Black communities everywhere. And you know what? That's not by mistake. When you don't know your roots, you struggle to know your power. Miseducation keeps people disconnected from their identity, from their culture, and from their global brothers and sisters. So when people are shocked at the idea of Black Scottish people, it's not just a funny misunderstanding. It's a dangerous sign of how history has been erased, and that erasure matters, because the truth is we are everywhere. We are in America, the Caribbean, Europe, Africa, South America, and beyond. The Black diaspora is massive, and the more we know about each other, the stronger we become. That's what Barack_A has been trying to say. You guys, engage your thoughts with me, of course, in the comment section down below. Also like and share this video. I'll see you in the next one.